This is Hidden Killers with Tony Brueski. Here now, Tony Brueski.
AT&T timing advanced records. That's a new phrase that's been introduced into this. The timing advanced records. It's another level of cell tower data that the defense is saying was hid from them. That the prosecution never turned it over. It's something they keep arguing in court. We didn't get this. We didn't get this. The prosecution says we didn't ever have it. So how are we going to give it to you? AT&T even saying, yeah, we didn't give it to you because we didn't have it. It only lasts for 7 days. And by the time you requested your data, it was many weeks later. And we don't keep that data that long. How long are they going to argue that? I mean, is that just a pretrial argument? Is that something that they can end up bringing up in court and try and say, look, this evidence was hidden from us, and who knows what that says because we didn't get it. But at the end of the day, well, it existed for 7 days, but no one knew to look at it.
No, I think that could be brought up, particularly when they have the AT&T person that produced the records on. I don't think they're going to stipulate. Oftentimes you just stipulate. I think that the defense could ask for them to come on and talk about how we didn't get, it wasn't mentioned in the subpoena. And that was just a mistake, an oversight by in this case, the FBI agent likely that was tutoring the Moscow individuals. Remember, those people were sorely underexperienced. I think 2 years in, Payne had around 2 years, never done a murder investigation that I recall. In any event, he has said, his mentor was an FBI agent. So whoever designed those subpoenas, and I remember toiling over all my subpoenas, especially when it involved technical data, going through them. Do I have everything? And then sending it to my cyber folks, to my digital cell experts on the cyber squad. Tell me, am I missing anything? Because you don't want to leave out just what happened there, a term that you're not aware of. And they're all over the place, depending on who you're subpoenaing, right? You can't know everything as an agent, so you go to the experts. So obviously one of these terms was missed. But so I think that the jury could look at that as long as they don't think it was intentional. I don't think it was a big problem. And then they'll get their expert to explain how that information does not, somehow erase the information it has. It just would have enhanced.
It's almost like the defense, if they bring it up, they're going to try and pitch it. It's basically adding confusion by omission. We don't have this, so what does it mean that we don't have this? Well, nobody has it. I think it could have been a boon to the prosecution, honestly, more than anything, if they had it, because it would likely put him where he was or allegedly was. But if there's confusion and we just don't know, then that adds the element of, well, he could have been anywhere. Well, in theory, but everything else points to that he was there. The autism argument, the judge says that autism can't be used as an aggravating factor in this. The state can only bring it up if the defense does it first. How do you think that's going to play? Do you think that the defense is going to try and bring autism into this? And is that going to be seen by a jury as part of a motive or mitigation in this? People can take that either way, I think. And one may look at it and going, oh, well, that means you're a little more prone to do this if he's on the spectrum area where there's lack of empathy and remorse, which is what he's flat out said he feels. And allegedly, if those writings of his online are true and truly his, or it can be looked at in the exact opposite way. How do you think that will play? And is it something that would be wise for the defense to even throw out there?
First of all, this is one of those examples where I think Ann Taylor just was really reaching beyond what she needed to do. And this is why I say that. I don't think the prosecution is going to want to bring up his autism. First of all, when I hear somebody is on the spectrum, to me, and again, I have a brother, I absolutely look at it even more empathetically, right? Oh, they might have challenges socially. And then But then anybody who's educated about autism knows that autistic people are no different than uh, somebody without autism in terms of being more murderous and more
Sure.
inclined to kill somebody or anything like that.
Hmm.
I don't think the prosecution had any intention of bringing up autism. I don't even know if the prosecution believes he's autistic
Sure.
just because one doctor has recently come out. I think the defense will use it. And remember, the judge didn't fully rule on this. I could see the defense using it to mitigate down the road if he's convicted to try and mitigate um, a possible death sentence.
Hmm.
So I see them why they, brought up this new finding. I truly don't understand why they thought the prosecution was going to use it. I just don't see prosecution going in that direction, and now they won't be going in that direction because the judge says no.
Do you think we're going to see anything more psychologically about him? Are we going to? I mean, can the defense, of him order some sort of psych eval? Can the prosecution order some sort of psych eval? Would either side want to order some sort of psych eval on him? Or the cards they're playing with right now, is it just a good idea to stick with what you have and hope for the best and not try to add something else into this mix?
Oh, I think those evals, in fact, we know now because of some motions we've seen that those have been done, and that the judge, he allowed it to come out that all of that was out there.
Hmm.
Not that we're going to get to see the evaluations, but rather that they were done and are out there. And so the prosecution, I think, if they could use all the information about how he spoke in his writings about the visual snow and lack of empathy, how horribly he treated his father, just all that information to show he was just a ticking time bomb
Hmm.
of a person. I think it could really help the prosecution, but I don't know if it'll come in unless the defense really opens that door to try to blame uh, mental issues for his actions. This is, to me, going to be one of the most interesting parts of this trial. I think the prosecution initially will just want to focus on the facts and not muddle it down with that. But juries want to understand motives. Why is this PhD student wanting to murder when he hasn't done anything except for stole a cell phone and had a few motor
Hmm.
vehicle violations?
Yeah. And that's what I'm wondering about. I mean, I'm wondering, if more so not during the actual trial itself, but more so in the sentencing phase, if he's found guilty, if the defense will try to look back to those blog posts where he talks about visual snow, because I think that might give the jury a little more empathy, honestly, towards him. Going, they can say, look, he's been suffering from feeling this way for all of his life, or most of his adult life, and this is someone who's not well, and spare him that. He couldn't control that part of his life, but lock him away, but let's not kill him because basically, he's an injured duck on the side of the road. Do you think that they would try and bring it up there? Because if you do that too, you can also probably bring up Papa Rogers if they can prove that, or anything else that digitally connects him. And most importantly, the damn photo with the eyebrows the next day with the thumbs up, because that right there, I think, is what could get him shot by a firing squad.
Yeah, no, I love all your points. If I'm the defense, I'm going to do just what you said. I
Hmm.
am really going to try to paint him as somebody who didn't have a chance from since he was a young teen. He was 130 pounds overweight. He had a heroin addiction. He,
Hmm.
struggled to be accepted, and had visual snow, blah, blah. That is and I don't mean the blah, blah,
Yeah,
et cetera, I should
sure.
say. But all that prosecution has to point out to me, I would be, I would put up 5 pictures. I would put up a picture of Maddie, Kaylee, Santa, and Ethan slaughtered, because that's what it's going to look like.
Hmm.
And then I would put that picture of the thumbs up.
Yeah.
And I'd say, for these victims, you have to do, you know, he didn't care about any childhood trauma they had.
No.
You know, Xana's mother was a drug addict. Xana was abandoned by her mother. You
Mhm.
know, Maddie
Yeah.
had some, you know, home issues, blah, blah, blah. No, that does not excuse this. That's what I would say if I was the prosecutor. And I can't imagine. I just think a lot of jurors that picture might do it.
I did too. I think when I saw that, if it's him, that is the nail in the coffin.
If true crime is your obsession, we've got you covered. Press subscribe now to the Hidden Killers podcast and True Crime Today for non-stop coverage, expert insights, and in-depth analysis.